the most important thing is not academics as much as success in practice. So the decisions that we make is, well, what's gonna create the successful practitioner? There's nothing that builds a successful practitioner better than to be in practice and get their hands on people.
Hey guys, today's interview on the Informed Chiropractors with Dr. Peter Kevorkian. He has been on the podcast many times before, but now he's no longer in practice. We're gonna find out why he left practice and where he is now. And he's always gonna leave us with some sprinkles of inspiration. He's making a bigger impact on the whole profession now. He's taken a leadership role. And I'm not gonna tell you the whole beans because I want you to watch the episode, but you're really gonna enjoy it. I always love having him on. Let's get started. Well, welcome everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Informed Chiropractor. I'm Dr. Don McDonald, your host. Dr. Peter Kevorkian's with me today. I don't really need to introduce him too much because this is like the third or fourth time he's been on the podcast. However, there might be a slight different thing going on in Dr. Peter's life than all the other times we were talking about before. Because I think the last time we had you on was right during COVID, and we were trying to get inspired about how to connect with people through their eyes because we're all wearing masks, and how to look beyond the things that drove us crazy. But you're not even in practice anymore.
No.
So this is really cool. Dr. Peter, could you tell us, has there something else that's changed in your life?
I've heard it said, if you want to see God laugh, tell him your plans. And I'm now here at Life West Chiropractic College in Hayward, California.
Yeah. Three time zones away from your home.
Yeah. And 3,000 miles west of where I've been practicing and living my whole life. Story of, in terms of how did it all happen?
Yeah, what the heck happened?
Yeah. Which is an interesting piece. In practice, loving practice. You've been practicing 42 years, and somewhere during COVID time, some knocks started happening on my door, asking me to participate in chiropractic education on a deeper level. I think most people know I was chairman of the board at Sherman College for 8 years, and felt I gave a lot to the school, to the profession during that time, while being in full-time practice. So when you're on a board of trustees, you don't usually get paid for it. It's not a paid position. It's usually volunteer, particularly within education.
Yeah.
And through that process, I saw a huge window in chiropractic education. I've been involved on the sidelines by teaching for the ICPA, which is great. But I never saw myself not being in practice. I mean, I love practice.
And just for anybody out there, like Dr. Peter, actually, and again, I'm teaching technique now, and one of my mentors in technique and blending so much stuff together is Dr. Peter Kevorkian, because he is like one of the most amazing adjusters on the planet. And so that's why I think it's such an interesting thing, because he had such an amazing practice. But sometimes you get called to go to the next level.
Well, what's interesting, Don, is I was in practice, love practice, and I'm at an interesting point in practice, where it's like vacation for me. After doing it 42 years, you have your procedures, you have your systems down. My practice was a very stable practice. We had many families under care. 85% of my practice is outside their first year of care.
Right.
They've been under care for a long time. We have over 200 patients that have been under care over 20 years, coming in, getting checked once a week or more for 20 years. So it's like, in the mind of many people, the ideal practice. Cash practice, and it's self-sustaining itself. And I got to the point I had hired an associate, and then I hired my associate's husband, who's now also an associate. And we're doing great. Everything is doing good. And there's a part of me that almost took the foot off the accelerator to say, hey, with these two young folks here, they're doing great. My patients love them. Everything is great. So I show up and I'm a superstar. People love me, and I still see more people in a day than most chiropractors do. But I was having a great time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as I said, I was involved at Sherman, and during my time there, Dr. Oberstein, president of Life West, would said, would you mind coming out and speaking at the Wave? Would you mind coming out and speaking at at school assemblies and stuff. So I came out to the college a few times. And toward the end of 2021, it might have been, beginning of 22, somewhere around there. It says, I would really love some help at the college. And, I would love you to be one of my vice presidents. And my knee-jerk reaction, no, I'm to move to California. No, I love practice. Why would I leave? Why am I going to want to do that? And, he sort of like he nudged me a few times. And after a few of the times, I sat and talked to Patty, and I said, maybe this is what we're supposed to do in this chapter of life. I never see myself retiring.
No.
It's just not what I'm going to do. It has me recall, there was a time I'd been in practice 3, maybe 4 years, and Dr. Joe Felicia had come to town to teach. Joe was a huge mentor of mine. He and Dr. Guy Reekman had created a company called Renaissance, which had its origins back when I was a chiropractic student. It was a huge influence over me. I taught for Dr. Joe for a number of years. I had utmost respect for the man. And I'll never forget, he was teaching a seminar, and it was Saturday night at the end of the seminar, and we always go out to dinner. He always goes to Legal Seafoods in Boston, orders the biggest lobster they got. I remember him zipping up his bag and says, hey, how many people you serving now? Now, this is like 3 years or so, 4 years into practice.
Yeah.
I said, things are doing great. Practice is doing amazing. What are you serving in a week? And I said, well, we see about 320 visits a week. And literally, he reached across the table, grabbed me by the shirt, looked at me inches away from my face. He goes, "You're letting people die." And I was like, I didn't expect that response, but and basically he's like,
how dare you?
and what he did over the next 3 hours as we went out to dinner was not as much scolding as it was holding the mirror and saying, you have a gift, you have a talent. How do you want to serve the world? How much of a difference do you want to make? And it really caused me to look on my insides and say, how do I want to show up? In 6 months, Don, my practice grew from seeing about 300 visits a week to over 550 visits a week.
Wow.
In 6 months. Nothing changed. Procedure didn't change. Nothing changed.
Except Dr. Peter changed.
He just shifted something in my brain and said, oh, maybe I'm supposed to serve more. A similar kind of thing happened when Dr. Oberstein calls me on the phone and he says, Peter, you have choices in your life and how much of an impact and difference you want to make. What kind of mark you want to leave in the world? He says, you got a great practice. I totally understand. I know what it's like to be in practice. I love practice. He says, I'm just opening the door for you if you want to serve at a different level. And basically, something shifted inside of me, and Patty and I talked about it. And then I talked to my associates about it, and I said, I think I need to do this. And, leaving everything that I absolutely loved in my life, my home, my practice, which was in my home, my staff, my team, which is an incredible team, my patients, many that had been serving my life, my kids, my family, my colleagues, my support system.
Yeah, your friends, all your friends,
everything. And moved 3,000 miles away. And you never know, BJ's credit was saying you never know how far reaching something you'll think, say, or do could affect the lives of millions tomorrow. I knew that we had made an impact on our little community there. When you leave, you really hits you, not just how it affected me, but how our presence affected the people that were there. And the stories from patients, from colleagues, in terms of the differences you made. And my ego didn't need that, but it was like, it's just so touching to know that, your part of your life's purpose was truly met. And it's that calling, that same drive is what drove me to be here is, well, what difference can I make in the future of our profession with students, with the structure and the administrative side of things? It was really easy. The first month I was here, as I said, we were talking before, I said, I could be doing this job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 365 days a year and not sleep. I mean, there's plenty to do in terms of this. And my first month, I don't think I walked outside of my office more than, except to come in and leave. And that's
And
it.
visit with us. We saw you. We saw you in January.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'd schedule that. But I made a commitment to myself that every week I need to be out of my office and be with students, because students are the reason I'm here, right?
Yeah.
So, at least a couple times a week, I'll speak to students at clubs, on some classes with instructors. The other day, I went up to the health center. I'm experiencing what it's like to be a student in the a patient in the health center. And one of the faculty doctors saw me there. He says, "Oh, you never come by and visit." I said, "Well, you guys are all busy. You're taking care of the students and making sure patients get served." He said, "Come by my office, give me a hug." So I go to his office, and we just started talking. And students were coming in and out to have sign off forms. And after about 15 minutes of us talking, I was going to be there for 2 minutes. I wanted to be like 45 minutes of talking, stories and everything from technique and philosophy and politics and practice and everything. And there were like 20 students all in his office, like sitting there drooling in their mouth. And I said, "Oh, this is really why I'm here."
Yeah.
Because it's not just the stuff that happens from a platform that makes a difference, but the serendipitous conversations that happen. And so moments like that happen all week long. And so that's what makes it magical.
And I was going to say, like back in the day, like when at Palmer, there used to be all the who's of who in chiropractic was teaching at the school. And so I think it is super important that we've had, chiropractors out serving people for 30, 40 years. Excellent at what they do, run super successful practices, are amazing at adjusting, and then they can come back to mentor the students, because I think that's probably one of the best ways to keep chiropractic.
100%. 100%. And Don, as with practice, I mean, the core value of practice is serving patients. You're there, you show up, you clear their nervous system, you educate them, you support them in their lives. That's the core value of what we do. But there's so many other things that are built around that you need for successful practice. Good business systems, communication systems, organizational systems, training your staff, marketing, all of those things will let you keep that core alive. So I'm out here, in terms of the stuff that, of the college, in terms of decision-making, direction, leadership, but this is the core value. And this is why we're here, which is students.
Right.
And the chiropractic student is the core value of what makes Life West tick. And it's magical and it's amazing. But it really comes into looking on your insides and saying, well, what's that right thing to do? Because you try to intellectually, your brain says, "No, what are you, crazy? Why would you ever do something like that?" The cost of living is in California.
Yeah, no doubt. Just rent, my goodness.
It's crazy. It's magical.
Yeah.
So it's the hardest thing I've ever done and the most amazing journey I could ever be on.
That's cool. So right now at the school, since you've been there for like what, 4 months now? You've been there
January 1st, yeah.
Yeah.
We're finishing 4 months.
Maybe just tell the listeners a little bit about kind of what you're excited about at the school. Like what kind of things are you doing to kind of get I'm getting older, students excited about chiropractic?
Interesting thing in education, a lot of things come across my desk relative to higher ed and the challenges in higher ed, and even stuff within chiropractic. Much of chiropractic education is trying to negotiate this thing of virtual education, online education. And there's some colleges now where you actually don't even show up on campus for a year. You can do a lot of your classes online. Recognizing that, Life West took a very interesting perspective on online education, because the leadership of the college are chiropractors. Dr. Ron and myself are both chiropractors. The provost is a chiropractor. Yeah. We recognize that the most important thing is not academics as much as success in practice. Right. So the decision that we make is, well, what's gonna create the successful practitioner? There's nothing that builds a successful practitioner better than to be in practice. and get their hands on people.
Right.
So a lot of the choices that were made in terms of curriculum were looking at that side first rather than academics. So in that vein, the first few years is not done at all online. It's all done in person.
Yeah.
One, because we believe people need community. You
Oh,
need the
totally.
structure of other people going down this same journey. I mean, as you remember when you were in school, some of the friendships that you initiate during your first quarters, you have 20, 30, 40 years down the road in practice.
Totally.
Those relationships are critical in terms of developing understanding and connection amongst people, communication, but learning your art form as well. How do you set up? How do you learn how to do this thing? And the school starts from literally day one, putting your hands on people.
Cool.
So literally from quarter one, it's the phrase that has been given is clinically inspired learning, that it's everything is done so that you become the best clinician you can be. So students learn from a very early on how to put your hands on people, how to build communication skills with patients, how to understand the vitalistic ideals of chiropractic philosophy and integrate them into your conversations. So that was one of the huge things. The entire last year is designed to try to make it very practical for the students. And we literally push them out of the school and try to get them into offices, preceptor docs. So it's like internships. In most states, you can adjust in the United States under another person's license. So a student goes and is actually in an office learning practical skills of communication, adjusting, dealing with staff, marketing, all the things that we do within practice. And they actually begin to observe those in practices that are aligned to the student's values. And the academic side is all done online. So the whole last 9 months, 12 months is done virtually online, as well as within a chiropractic office. So it's flip-flops from how many of the colleges are doing it right now. So
Totally.
not any virtually on the front side. So that's one huge piece that I love about the school.
Well, it's actually funny because we're just going to work with a student, I think, and we're going to try to do an internship coming up here in the summer, and now from Life West, and so that'll be the first time we've ever done that. So that'll be our new experiences. Help to give them a good experience.
The other piece, the college does 9 mission trips or service trips a year. We have relationships we built in Tonga, which is an island in the South Pacific, and Mexico City, and in India. And we'll do 3 service trips in each of those areas 3 times a year. And cool. Senior students, once their students are eligible to be in the health center, what they're actually having their own patients, they can apply to go on one of the service trips. And it's supervised. It's just like you're in the health center, but you're outside the country, and hundreds of people are going to be in front of you. And, whereas in the health center, you'll schedule somebody and you might see 2 or 3 or 4 people in a day. On service trips, you're seeing dozens, possibly hundreds of people
in a day.
So it really develops the student's ability to be able to adjust. And so that's magical. So those 2 aspects of like, yes, this is what chiropractic education should be.
100%.
I had a conversation with one of the first months here with the woman who chairs the philosophy department, and we got talking about many things of philosophy. I wanted to get her sense of how she saw things and what she thought of the curriculum, et cetera, and where she had come from. And I made the comment to her. I said, the school really doesn't need more philosophy courses. And I could see her, like, she immediately became defensive. I said, what the school really needs is philosophy in every course.
Totally.
I said, because pathology and diagnosis can be taught from a vitalistic viewpoint. Anatomy and physiology should be taught from a vitalistic viewpoint. And so that's the curriculum is striving to move more and more in that direction.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so that's a piece of it. The other thing that, although this doesn't affect students directly, but it does in the bigger context, the nature of students nowadays is different than it was when I was a student, when you were a student.
Yeah.
People don't like to go places. They want to stay in their own little cocoon, except when they go away on vacation. So we're deciding, rather than having everybody come to school, we're going to take the school to other people. So we're creating additional educational sites.
Ah,
So the first location that we created was in Omaha, Nebraska.
right.
And where this idea comes from is many, many colleges right now, um, not chiropractic colleges, but higher education institutions have loads of empty classrooms. Particularly since the advent of online education, many schools with loads of buildings and lots of real estate have empty rooms.
Yeah.
So we want to fill those rooms with chiropractic students. So we're
So it's kind of like cheap rent-ish.
yeah, cheaper. And plus, there's all the infrastructure's there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
already have a bookstore. They have a dining facility. They have a
Like gym,
living facility.
gymnasium.
They have a gym.
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
all the equipment. They have an IT department. So so much of the cost of a chiropractic college is the infrastructure.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and there's some faculty that obviously can be you spill over, particularly if the school has some degree of health sciences. So we are enlarging the reach of the college through additional educational sites. So,
Mm.
so the first site, which is our beta site, we're working out all the bugs, is in Omaha. It's at Bellevue University, an amazing university. I mean, the campus is lovely. They have like world-class gym that's unbelievable. The dining facility is outstanding. They have living facilities there. The campus is lovely. It's in Omaha, Nebraska. And not everybody wants to live there, but there are loads of people that are in that area and says, wow, I could go to school here.
Well, hey,
And
we're the Palmer grads, right? So we were
that's
not
right.
Davenport, Iowa. So I think
We did
Nebraska
the
is bigger.
pilgrimage. Our next one is probably going to be in India. We have a clinic there
Wow.
already that's connected to the service trips we've done there. But that will probably be the next edition. We're working at that. That's some issues are still being worked out with the government and whatnot. But they're very, very, very excited to have us be there.
Do they have chiropractic colleges in India right now?
No, there are none. No,
There's none.
it's going to be opening up a whole new world for them out
Holy
there.
smokes.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a few people in that country.
yeah, yeah. And we have our sites on the goal is over the next 10 years to open up at least 5 or 6 additional locations in
Oh, wow.
yeah, so that's the goal. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
That's some expansion. Well, speaking about global reach, we were just talking before we went live about how you were traveling lots before because we've always seen you on the road when you're teaching for ICPA. But I think you're traveling slightly more now in the last 4
Well,
months.
one of the things that we do to stay connected to our alumni and family, friends and family of the college,
Yeah.
we do a number of presidential receptions. So the
Yes.
presidential receptions are we've been to Salt Lake City, we've been to Denver, San Diego, Bellevue University as well, all to connect with our constituency, our family, and bring people together and break bread and let people become aware of the stuff that's going on at the schools. And people come in addition to the alumni and friends, and our family grows and we gain support of the college. So I've been traveling to all of those. So that's been a piece of it, as well as I'm still involved with the ICPA. I'm president of the board. So we had our big gathering in Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago. In a few weeks, I'll be at New Beginning Seminar in New Jersey, which I've been part of for years. And I just came back from Euro Europe. What a great program out there in Malaga, Spain.
Yes.
Great energy. Amazing, a vitalistically focused group out there, led by Mark Hudson and Lynn, his bride.
Yes.
People out there.
Yeah, people know we had Mark on the podcast before. We were out there before Brandy was speaking. It's totally a great energy atmosphere.
Actually, one of the coolest things I'd never seen at a seminar, the MC of the event had people stand up who are all from different countries. I've never been to a seminar with more people from more countries than I've ever seen. I mean, I think that must have been 600, 700 people there. And maybe there were 100 people from Spain, but people from all over Europe, from Asia, United States, South America, New Zealand, Australia. I mean, it was a huge melting pot. That in and of itself is inspirational.
That's cool. Now, so with you just kind of getting dipped in all this stuff, maybe just tell listeners kind of what's your feel on the pulse of chiropractic? Like, how's chiropractic doing around the world? Like, what's your 100,000 view perspective on how's things going on out there? Because a lot of people, like you said, don't travel; they're at home, so they're in their own office.
So much depends on how you want to look at things.
Totally.
Right? And you can look at what is happening in our world on the global scale.
Yeah.
There's never been such a degree of tension, unrest, uncertainty of annihilation of the human species. You can put all your attention there, right?
Right.
Or we could be putting it to the point of, I've never seen people want more intimacy, connectedness, integrity, fellowship, friendship than ever before. So it's like we can work to focusing on the things that make us different, or we can work to focus on the things that make us the same and that bind us together. There's a part of me that sees some of the political things that have happened within our profession and say, oh my God, what's the use?
Yeah.
Then I go to things like Chiro Europe, or I spend time with the student body that's here, or I hang with the Delta Sigma Chi fraternity brothers, and I say, oh my goodness, there's more vitality and more life and more hope and possibility in our profession than I've ever seen. So my viewpoint actually is extremely optimistic for our profession. I believe that there will always be this internal ruckus that we have, whether it be from the extremes of our profession or even the more conservative side of the profession. And the thing that has always astonished me is how you have people who all focus or understand the importance of having a subluxation-free spine, and that this group, which tends to be the more limited or smaller group, how we fractionalize that group. Even
that group's too big. Make it smaller.
It's like, and I just sit there in amazement. And so actually, the students ask me that all the time, and I said, we can look at what makes us different and polarize ourselves from it, or you can look at what makes us different and become excited about it. I said, I love the freedom, the ease by which we can go down so many different paths. You can be very biomechanically oriented, very tonal oriented. You can be super, there's some chiropractors who do the same thing every single time a person comes in, and the other person does something totally. It's like, we could argue till the cows come home about that. But when somebody's coming from this place of love and service, and optimizing and building the well-being of people, that's only good. And so I see tremendous hope for us working together and building collaboration and symbiosis within our profession and with our profession integrated into society and our culture. In the same way, you could look at COVID-19 amplified the pathogenic viewpoint to the world.
Right.
But so many people, as a result of that, woke up to say, wait a second.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
This doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah. And I believe that some of the polarities that exist within our profession are causing people to wake up. It really doesn't matter whether you're adjusting atlas hands only with an instrument, or you're adjusting full spine.
Or you can adjust it from a foot away with your mind.
Every adjustment it can potentially benefit people. And mastery of the skills is what you need to see. It's not the technique, it's the person employing the techniques that matters. So in that realm, I see lots of symbiosis and synergy of things coming together.
See, that's why Brandy always says, if anyone feels bad, just talk to Dr. Peter, because he always has the best perspective. If you want sprinkles of love, talk to Peter. Brandy's like, I could use a little bit of love too, but she's like, that's what she just loves about you, is that you figure out what's the nice perspective to look at it from that.
Our nature is, if you see 100 people in a day, and 98 came in, absolutely loved everything you did. They love being in your office. It's just amazing. And two people complained about something,
Yeah.
either it costs too much or their pain is you consistent. When you go home at night and your partner asks you, said, well, how was your day? You give
Yeah.
the energy to those two people who bitched about you rather
Totally.
than put your attention on the 98% that absolutely loved you. That's our nature. Is we just tend to look at all the challenges.
Hmm.
So it's maintaining that viewpoint. Every day I walk in and everybody is got their job to do. Everybody is busy and some amazing people work here. But usually the first person that I'll see, and I'll make a comment to her, I'll say, "Let's make the world a better place."
Yeah.
That's what we do. We just contribute whatever we can to make the world a better place, whatever way we can.
That's awesome. Now, you guys have an event coming up this summer, don't you? Called
Yes.
The Wave. And maybe tell the listeners a little bit about that. Me and Brandy are coming to this. So everybody who's out there listening to this, if you want to hang out, come and join us there because it's going to be fun.
So the wave is it's our homecoming, our annual big event that happens. It's the first weekend of August. It's the second and third. It's all day on Friday, and then Saturday it ends about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's done with intention to have everybody be together. It's all in one room. There are not like 50 breakout rooms, we're all doing different things. Everybody stays in the same room, the same speakers. There is some powerful speakers, all either focused on philosophy or on science or the art, and that's done with very specific intention to get your cup filled in every direction. Some great speakers, international speakers. Rather than be going through each person, you can go to lifewest.edu, and click on the wave, and you'll see all the information of the people who are speaking. There are also luncheons and celebrations throughout the event. We are having one fellow who's gonna I believe this is the first time that this has ever happened. He is doing a program where the entire CE program is going to be sung. So he's a performer, so is actually going to engage in music and offering information on chiropractic. I can't wait to see this.
Music CE hours. Whoa.
Yeah, it's we're gonna do some creative stuff. It is a Star Wars theme. And don't worry, if you're not a Star Wars fan, you'll still have a great time. But it's titled The Force Within. And it's awaken that force that may be asleep inside of us to express better aspect of that force, whether that is in terms of how we own the philosophy, how we own the technique, or how we own the science of the things that we do. So it'll be a great weekend. And the nice thing about it ending Saturday, middle of the day, it leaves loads of time for dinners and friendships. Some people come and then go up to Napa Valley or go down to Big Sur, somewhere along the coast, and enjoy Northern California.
Yeah.
Or just go to San Francisco and play at some of the best restaurants and shops in the world. So
that's amazing. Actually, I like the Star Wars theme because I have a poster of Yoda in my adjusting suite, and it's like there is no try, there's only do or not do, because so many people are always saying I'm trying to do stuff. So I always have Yoda in my adjusting suite, so it'll be perfect for the Star Wars theme for the wave this year.
Do or do not. There's
no try.
Is no
Actually,
try.
the funniest thing is I had a patient come up to me after and said, isn't that funny that one of the most profound sayings was made by a little Yoda puppet in Star Wars? It wasn't like a famous leader from the past. And I'm like, that's actually pretty funny. I'm sure someone said something similar along that, but Yoda got the credit.
Actually, that comes from the second movie that he created, which was episode 7, I believe, called The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Actually, what Master Yoda says prior to that phrase, okay, that it's a scene in which Luke Skywalker, one of the main characters of the movie, a spaceship falls into the mud, and Yoda says, pull it out of the mud, use the Force. And for those that are not Star Wars fans, the Force is this etheric energy that the Jedi.
It's the Star Wars innate.
Right, it is, but it's basically to use your intention and clarity and focus to be able to move stones and weapons and direct energy in very, 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 very powerful ways.
Right.
And Luke tries to raise the spaceship out of the mud that he'd fallen into. He can't do it. It's too big. And the next words that Yoda says, I think, are even more profound than do or do not. There is no try. And he says, where you fail, I succeed, because my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Luminous beings are we, not just this group matter.
Wow.
Align yourself to that light, and you'll not only move rocks and stones, spaceships, you'll transform all of humanity. My paraphrasing of what Yoda says, but that's exactly.
Wow, you said that pretty good, though.
It is the most potent words to recognize that our beings, our life forms, isn't just matter, but it's this powerful force that animates that matter. It's about the power in the body more than the body itself. And that power is what animates this world. That power is what we connect to with every adjustment. That power is ultimately what was at source of driving me to bring talent to Northern California to try to change the world in this part of the world. So it's that power that I believe we're all going to connect to at the Force, at the Wave, rather, August 2nd and 3rd. Life.edu, you can register. It's dirt cheap. I mean, it's not even $100, and you get loads of CE hour credits and great time.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of our time, and again, you've already given some great advice, but I always like to just say, what would you like to leave those listeners with as words of inspiration as they're driving to work or working out at the gym?
You're asking me the question that I got asked by Craig Osborne. Dr. Osborne was the MC at the
at Chiro Europe.
And at the end of my talk, he goes to me, he says, I need a title for your talk. Because I guess he's going to post it online. And I don't know how to give the title of the talk. I said, I think it was something like, serve people with love and magic happens. I'll leave you with that.
There you go. Mic drop. Boom. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Peter, my man. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Wave because I think that'll be the next time I see you.
We'll see you in a few weeks.
All right. And everybody out there, I hope you got inspired about this. If you're in practice, you've been in practice for a while and you have like this little niggle that maybe you want to take a bigger step. This is a super good example of taking that inspiration and those little door knocks and actually make something of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, take care. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.